Hey everyone, it's Teresa, and I have a video today to share some of my favorite projects that I love to sell. A few of them are really great sellers for me. I'm going to tell you all about that in the video. And this one actually came about because I put out a little poll over on my community tab and you guys voted, and this was the highest one. So let me go ahead and jump into some projects that sell really well for me, and hopefully they'll sell really well for you. All right. So this first project is actually going to be a really cute little shelf with a couple of little dogs with like their back sides and a little thing for the tail and a little shelf for the treats. It's adorable, absolutely adorable. This project I actually made quite a while ago and it sold really quickly. So I need to make another one, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to make the video, because I could watch this stuff back. So I've just got some little pine pieces of wood, and the thing that I'm using right there is actually some of the weather wash. I'll try to link it down below for you to go check out their website, and it's really nice because it's water-based and it does kind of dry pretty quickly, and it kind of gives it this weathered look. They got a lot of different stain options and everything. I really like their product. It's not sponsored. It's not any of that. I just really like them. They have provided a couple of these jars here and there for me, but it is a really cool product, and little goes a really long way, and you really can't mess it up. Like sometimes you can apply stain in a way that kind of looks funky. This stuff you cannot mess up. And I'm just taking a little piece of just really cheap cloth that I have that's like a microfiber kind of thing, dipping it in, using gloves, that way I don't get a big mess. It's not too much a big deal. This is inside, so if you guys need that kind of thing for the winter season where you're not trying to use like an oil-based stain that smells awful, this is a really good choice. All right, so now I have everything else all dried up, and I want to say this is about 16 inches wide on this wide part that you see, and it's about 5.5 inches tall, depending on kind of the way you're looking at this and everything. And I'm actually just using my measuring mat to find a good centered spot on it and marking it with a pencil. That way I can go ahead and connect my shelf. And the shelf is just a little bit of a cut off piece. I think it's probably about that same 5.5 inches wide, and I believe it is about 3 inches the other way, so not too much of a thing. I just basically cut off a little spot of this shelf. So I've got it kind of marked on there with pencil, and now I'm going to go in with some wood glue. This is the Titebond wood glue. I'm going to stick it right there on top of that longer piece of wood. I'm going to clamp it down. I apologize, it's kind of out of this, you can't really completely see it, but that's all I'm really doing is I'm clamping it down so that it'll stay put, because I am going to put some screws in the back. If you have a nail gun, definitely would work, probably even better than than screwing it in. I think at this point, if I had my nail gun, I hadn't used it yet, and as of putting this voiceover on here, and I still have not used it. I don't know why that particular piece of equipment is a little bit more, I don't know, it's a little bit more scary to me, I guess. And I think I can actually see the box from here. That's hilarious. There's a box in the lower left-hand corner. If you can see that, that's the nail gun. I was going to use it, and I chickened out. I am a big chicken. So here you can see what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and get it started and put in just a couple of screws here in the back. So I do drill a pilot hole because trying to go straight in with the screws is kind of a little problematic, and you don't want to, you don't want to set yourself up for failure. So I just go in with my pilot holes first, and then I'm actually going to come in with my screws to go in and just kind of screw them in with a hand screwdriver. It gives you a little bit more force, traction, something. It gives you more something. there's a word for it. If you can think of the word that I'm thinking of without obviously being able to remember it, go ahead and leave it down in the comments for me. So see, here we are. I'm just going to use a screwdriver to screw it in by hand. It makes things a little bit easier by making sure you can get it kind of in there, and it gives you a little bit better control too. I have many times left marks on wood because I didn't do it by hand. I used a screwdriver and it went a little crazy. Yes. So anyways, you're just going to screw or nail the back side of it so that you're not worried about it. You can even, I believe what I actually did here with this was the bit that actually drills further into the wood. I cannot recall the name of that either. My goodness. I will do my best to link all of these items down below. I'm going to probably start up a whole series of these like things that you can make to sell. So this is the first one. All of these projects kind of have like a Cricut element to it. There's probably a dozen ways to kind of get the same look, but these all have that kind of thing in common. These are all Cricut, like made either stencils or vinyl to put on it, that kind of thing. So next I will have some other options too. So I got these little dog butt backside graphics. I think I got that off of Creative Fabrica. I cannot recall exactly, but I'm pretty sure that's where I got them. I've seen them so many different places. So if there's a spot that you want to purchase, that you normally purchase or download your stuff from, you can probably find something. And I apologize, my head is there in the way. But yeah, so all I'm doing here is kind of trying to find a good idea of where the center-ish is on basically from where that little ledge ends and the end of the wood is. So best estimates, you know, sometimes you just have to go with the fact that these are handmade items, that a machine did not make them, so they are only going to be but so perfect. I'm going to go in with some Waverly chalk paint in the color ink and a stencil brush, and really just going around the edges and focusing on straight up and down movements, not having too much paint on your brush. If you've been here around, been around here for a little while, on my channel at least, I really prefer to do a stencil on a piece of wood as opposed to having vinyl on the wood. It's better longevity, it looks better, it's easier, better to sell because it's just, I don't know, it just looks better overall, in my opinion. So once it's completely dry, I am just going to go ahead and peel it up. It just left it absolutely beautiful. You can also use stencil vinyl if you prefer. It just kind of depends on what your preference is. Now I got this little clear plastic container from the Dollar Tree. It's over in the kitchen section, and I'm just going to add this little decal to it directly on that just has a little paw print that says treats. It's like adorable. It's that thin lettering that's supposed to look like the Ray Dunn stuff, and super popular, very cute. I did not do a ton of distressing on this little doggy shelf. I know not everybody loves it, so I tried to avoid it on this one. Now, when I'm doing vinyl on like something like plastic, 100% you want to do vinyl on it instead of trying to paint it and seal it. And that's, again, it's all personal preference, right? Here on this one, you do see the method that I haven't used throughout the entire rest of the video. You'll see here in a little bit. I'm going to use it a few different times, but it's a good way to get away from bubbles, which I think I probably had a little bit of in that particular application. So I've got just a single black hook to kind of pose as the little dog's tails. This is so cute. I can't get over it. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I marked where I wanted it to go, and now I'm going to just go in quick little small pilot hole, and then I'll screw in the screw itself by hand. And this is just like a cute little spot that you could do for leashes, you could do for dog's collar, their little, their little baggie that you take out on their walks, whatever it is. So many different choices and options. And this, like I said, this thing, I think once I dropped it off at the shop, the next time I came back, it was already gone. I do definitely need to make some more of these in a few different color options, different like doggy backside styles. Usually the files that you can find with them have a lot of different dogs. So if you have, people that you want to try to get them, encourage them to order it directly from you and to order it as a, as a special order, you can personalize it for their dog. You can add the dog's names. There's lots of different choices. The shop I sell at, I'm selling directly in the shop, so I don't really have the option to kind of go in there and get, you know, a person's you know, dog's name, type, all of that. So this particular hook has 2 spots, I believe, to put in the screws. So what I did is I figured out where the best spot was for it and dotted only on the top line, the top spot, and then I went ahead and added on the second one without marking it, just drilling straight into it. This is how it turned out, though. I think this turned out so cute. I hope you guys think it's cute too. Leave me a comment down below what you think of this one. So my first project is going to be a good old-fashioned Dollar Tree one. That isn't something you're going to probably see very often. And I'm sorry, these are full of stuff because I have a dog. But this is something you're probably not going to see too often on my channel anymore, are the Dollar Tree DIYs. But these are actually decent quality. They're pretty thick, they're pretty hefty, and these sell really well for me. I live in an area, I live in Orlando, Florida, if you're new to my channel, but nearby is a lot of areas that have chickens. So I do these, and we do some fun little things here on the side of them. I'm going to be using my Cricut on this one with, I'm going to do white and black. I do have the Cricut Venture, so I can jam out a lot of these, but any Cricut you have, you can do this project. And let's go ahead and go over to Design Space, and I'm going to share my file that I'm going to be using with you guys as well. I already have this designed because, like I said, they're one of my best sellers. And so I've already got them all pretty much laid out. Some have these cute farms, some have chickens. There's a bunch of just different little funny phrases to put on the back of them, for the lack of a better word. And what I'll do a lot of times, I'll just hide them if it's something I don't need to do a lot of. The one that I don't know if it's just this particular location that I sell at, one that I have in here, which if you pull this file open that I'm going to share with you, it'll be linked down below. You can just pull it up in Design Space. There's one that is, I'm trying to remember it, which came first. It's not popular, so it's here, but it's just hidden, so you just have to unhide it. So anyways, I am going to go ahead and get this set up on my machine. I've got the Cricut Venture set up. Again, you can do this. It's set to where you can use any of the Cricut machines. If you're using like the Joy or something, you'll probably just have to do a few different groupings of it or whatnot. So I'm just going to go in to make just like I normally would for pretty much any project. It's going to start trying to talk to my machine, and I'm going to be doing this without a mat. I'm going to do it on my 13-inch material. It's going to sort it out for me. You'll see here it's got it all set up. I am going to do it 2 times, one on white, one on black. And it's going to be, see, it would even fit if you did it on a mat. So this is going to fit for you. I am going to space it a little bit out. If I'm going to be using the material for it, I may as well make sure I can actually cut it easily enough. I could design it to where it's going to cut each one of them for me, but I'll be honest, that seems like that's more work than I want to put into it right now. Plus that way too, if you're really particular and trying to save material, you don't want to do that. So whenever you're on your machine, you can always start to kind of move things around so that they'll be easier for you to deal with. So just something to keep in mind. All right, they're in place. I'm good with them. I'm going to go ahead and click continue. It's going to look for my machine here in a minute. It pops up with all my materials. I'm going to be using permanent vinyl. This one's important. This is not a project you really want to use removable vinyl. You can, but it's not going to stick as well when you're putting it on those plastic containers. So smart permanent vinyl, regular pressure is fine. It's going to cut it off at the bottom of it for me, and everything else is already set up. And I'll show you the machine here in just a second. The rest of the process right here on the screen is the same. So I'm going to switch over to the camera and show you what this monster of a machine looks like. All right, so I've got my machine in kind of a weird spot in my room, but it fits for me, so it's kind of a weird spot to get to. But I am just going to open up this little drop spot here that you can see down here at the bottom, right there, sorry. And just like normal, it's going to start blinking and telling you I've already got my stuff set up in here. The lever is down. it's set up with the number 1 spot. The little latches are up. This little guy is slid over, the whole thing. Set up with the right blades in there and everything. So I'm just going to click the button just like we normally would, and it's going to measure everything out. Those sounds are actually like a vacuum that's not get in the way here, that are actually set up right here to hold the material in place. All right, so now it's measured the material and it should start blinking over here. All right, and it's going to cut, and it cuts super fast. So one thing I wanted to mention to you while the machine is cutting, and I muted it obviously, this machine works off of the 2 different sizes, either the 13-inch or the 25-inch. If you're going to be making a project that's really long, it is a pain to use the 13-inch. The 25-inch works a lot better, and to be really honest, my personal preference is to only use the smart materials on this thing. Using the mats so far in my experience have been a big pain. If you plan to use the mats a lot, I wouldn't recommend this machine for you. All right, so now that I've got everything cut out and weeded and all of that, I am going to kind of start separating them and doing kind of one at a time, because that's what makes the most sense, right? And you want to make sure that all of your plastic pieces that you're putting vinyl on is cleaned with rubbing alcohol so that it just, adheres really nicely and everything like that. So I'm going to be using this transfer tape. I think it's Arteza. I'll be real honest, I'm not 100% sure on that. I had like a bunch of like leftover pieces and parts and stuff left sitting in my drawer, and I was like, hey, that looks good. We'll use that, right? And it's obviously giving me a hard time. So there's certain transfer tapes that do not work well with this smart material stuff from Cricut. It's a lot harder to get off of the backer than a lot of vinyl. So I'm just going to let you know that if you've never used it before, just kind of be aware of that. Some of the, some of the transfer tape just does not work with it. And this one worked pretty well. And now what I'm doing is I'm putting down a cloth because I'm going to use this like wet soapy method. In this little spray bottle here, it's just a fine mist spray bottle, nothing particularly special about it. It has water and like a drop of Dawn dish soap, or whatever equivalent you have to Dawn dish soap. And I spray it on the surface, and then I spray it on the vinyl. Now, a lot of times you need to let it dry. Sometimes you can get away with not letting it dry. At least on this project with this transfer tape, I get away with not letting it dry all the way. I'll also let you know to be careful depending on the transfer tape and I guess how they printed the lines or words or letters on it. It can sometimes transfer, especially if you have to let it sit to dry. So be aware of that. This one did not give me that problem, but I also didn't let it sit. One time I used something on it and it was not happy, not play nice. So here's all of them. I think I ended up doing like a total of 10 of them, and these guys actually sell for about $8 for me. And I apologize, I meant to say it on the first project how much that one was. I want to say the first project was $35. All right, so I'm going to make a really cute little acrylic keychain. This is kind of what we're going for right here. I'm going to show you how I make it though, just in case you've never done this before. It's a couple new little features in here. So first I am going to go ahead and come in and just look up chicken. In the images that we have here, lots of different things. Let me just find, this might not be identical to the one I made, but we're going to come in here and find something pretty similar. Hold on just a second. Trying to remember what chicken I used on here. Probably that one. It looks like it. It's not exactly the same, but it looks very similar. Let's see which one it is. It might not be exactly the same one, but that's okay. Okay, that is obviously too big. Let's bring those babies down. It's not this exact chicken because its feet are a little different, but that's close enough. So let me delete that one. So here's how I'm going to make this little keychain. I have a 2-inch circle that I'm going to find in here. Okay. And now, so to add your circle, I just keep it here just to keep it kind of easy, but you just go to shapes and then you would choose circle. It's going to actually automatically, I think, give you a 2x2, which is what my little round acrylic disc is. It's already got the hole in it, so just kind of be mindful of that. You could place it a little circle there to keep in mind where the hole is if you need to. So let's get our chicken figured out for size. I'm just going to drag it into the circle, get it kind of figured out how much smaller I want it to be. So somewhere right around here is where the little hole is for the disc. So I'm going to be absolutely fine with where I am. So that's my chicken. I'm going to hide my circle by hitting this little eyeball right here. And now I'm going to put my words in it. So let's just go into text. Now, the town that my shop is in is Oviedo, and they got a lot of chickens. And I am going to kind of pick a different option for font. So we'll go right up here to font. Lots of different choices. I cannot honestly remember the one that I used on the other chicken, but you basically just look and find something that you like. I prefer when you're trying to weed smaller things that you choose like a thicker font. Let's go with this one. This might be what I used before. I'm not really sure. Dom Casual. But when you're picking fonts that you're going to have to weed in a small design, you're going to want to try and pick something that is thicker. That's going to be easier for you to weed. All right, so now that I've got it picked out, let's go ahead and get it sized a little smaller, and I am also going to shrink down the letter space. So see where you have letter space right here? We're just going to bring it down, and those letters are going, oh, I'm so sorry, that said line space. I was wondering, why aren't they moving? Letter space, this is if there was multiple lines, like it said something on top or bottom, that would bring those closer, but we're gonna do letter space. And see, it's slowly going to bring them closer. That's probably good. I don't want them too close, but I wanted them a little bit more than they were. And now we're just going to zoom in a little bit on here. And I am going to get this baby where it's overlaying a little bit with the chicken. You can have it completely encompassed or just a little bit. And I want to make sure I'm cautious of my circle still as well. So if there's some outlying area of it, it's okay. That was how I did that design. And there was a couple things when I was doing it and actually weeding it out that I wanted to be kind of aware of doing it again. Like the dot of the eye, if it was kind of placed part of the chicken, like make sure it's large enough, like it had just a sliver outside of the chicken. But again, it really doesn't matter, just however you end up liking it. And I'm not sure if I like it centered. Let me see. I'm going to highlight the whole thing, go into a line and hit center. It's pretty darn close to where it already was. So, all right. So now I'm going to select it, both things, the chicken and the lettering. And I'm going to go over here to combine, not hit the combine, but hit the little drop down. It's going to give you a couple of different options. So the first one I believe I want to do is the exclude. And what that's going to do is it's going to, anywhere it overlap, it's going to weed, it's going to take it out. That's how I did the other one. You can also slice it if you want to, but this is how I did that one. So again, that was combined and then exclude. So once that's done, I am going to go ahead and highlight the whole thing, and I don't have to attach it or anything like that. So this little chicken is done, and you see it fits well within that 2-inch circle, no problem whatsoever. And I'm going to go ahead and hide this again, and I'll show you what to do from here. I'm not going to show you the walkthrough on the machine this time around. Since you just saw the last project, you'll be able to kind of follow through the whole steps just like that, like normal. So let me show you what I do once I'm ready to actually put it on and make the keychain. So I've got my already weeded teeny tiny little chicken with the lettering cut out of him. And I'm just going to take a rag or whatever, and I need a weeding tool real quick. I guess this is technically optional, but you can peel off this little protective spot, protective thing. It's got one on both sides, so just be aware of that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get my transfer tape. I've used it once already with this method, so it may or may not stick. We'll find out. But just like you normally would, get your item ready to transfer. I'm gonna peel it off the backing sheet. Let's see if it peels off nice. And this is going to be kind of like the little water, soapy water method, just like the last one I showed you. So we're just going to take our soapy water, spray the surface, spray the vinyl, and then I am just going to go ahead and place it on here. And with this method, you can move it around a little bit if you change your mind, but then I'm going to use my scraping tool and get it nice and stuck down, and this is going to help us get a bubble-free application. Now, you can let it dry, sit and dry. Sometimes you can get away with peeling it up right away, like this one. I've had no problems with doing that on these little acrylic discs with doing that. And something to be aware of too, I haven't had a problem with this particular type of transfer tape, but sometimes with, especially I've noticed the Cricut transfer tape that has Cricut written all over it, it transfers to the acrylic when you're doing this water method. So something to be aware of. So test it out before you do a ton of them, especially if you're letting them sit there and dry. That has a higher risk of transferring the lines to it. But there's that little piece, so let's go ahead and add the other parts to this keychain. All right, so all of these little pieces and parts, I believe, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not telling a lie here. I'm pretty sure all of these little pieces and parts came from Amazon, so really accessible to kind of get. I'm going to use a jump ring. I'm going to use a little lobster claw rotating something or another, and a like little keychain part. I will do my best to have all of this linked for you down below in the description box, or it may be over in an Amazon storefront that I have not used in a long time. But I'm going to try to do my best to get everything linked in here for you so that you can find it if you are interested in using it. I recently organized all of these little pieces and parts. It was a whole thing. So what I'm doing is I'm of course adding on with a couple of like little jewelry pliers, bending open the jump ring, closing the jump ring, adding the hardware for the keychain part, and then I'm also going to add this really cute little chicken charm. I just thought it was a cute little extra touch. And you guys can do kind of whatever you want to do. I also contemplated actually with the idea of doing a layer of resin on the back side of it, or even putting it on like the other side and having the image mirrored, so you could do, you know, I had a couple of different ideas. I may still do them down the line. We'll see how these little guys sell for me though, and then we'll figure out what I need to make adjustments. There's another one that I made that's not a chicken, but same methodology completely on that one. And I think I'm going to probably mark these little guys right around like $5 to $6. Let me know what you guys think as far as pricing on those. Alright, so I'm over here in Creative Fabrica. This is one of the places that I a lot of times will get my graphics from, especially when I'm feeling lazy and don't feel like designing them myself, which is right now. So these are some baby milestones. So these are adorable for pictures. They're just all kinds of things. These ones are even cute because they have like all these other little like things like I can smile, I can giggle, first steps, all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and download these. Now, for Creative Fabrica, I have like a full subscription, so these don't show up to have any cost to me. So if you're interested in checking out Creative Fabrica, I've got a few links down in the description box. Usually there's different promotions going on. I think the link I had down in my description box will get you first month for like $1 or something. And a lot of times they will also do a full like year-long membership for like less than $50. And I think that if it hasn't kicked off, I feel like I just saw something like that may be coming up something pretty soon. So I'll have those links down below if you want to check them out. But I'm going to go ahead and just click download. These download super easy. And these can be used on a, you know, on something like a Cricut, or you can use it on your different lasers, things like that. I am going to be doing this on my Cricut today, but here in the future I am going to do some different ones, some different projects on my laser, so make sure you're subscribed so you can check that out. But let's go ahead and pull these into Design Space and I'll show you what we have in store for them. I'm just going to go ahead and show you real quick how to upload your stuff from Creative Fabrica over here to Cricut. You're just going to come in, I'm over here in the canvas already, and I'm just going to go ahead and click in Upload. And these are all different things that I've uploaded in the past. Go to Upload Image, and then we're just going to pull in, not that one, excuse me, our monthly milestones. You just drag it and drop it right on in there. And this is saying, well, like, oh, wow, this is really big. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. And it's going to tell you you're going to cut them and everything. And these, I think we're saying they were already set at like 3.5. So I'm going to probably have to adjust that. But anyways, go ahead and click that upload button. It's all set to be some in the SVG format. So let's click on it, hit add to canvas, and here they are coming up. Whoa, those are interesting. Those are red. Anyways, we're going to make sure that those are the right size. I am probably going to have to make an adjustment to these. So I'm going to click on it and click, is that yep, ungroup. And now I should be able to do one at a time, making sure that they're the appropriate size for the discs that I have. I have shown you quite a bit in Cricut Design Space already. So I am going to go through and get that all fixed up. And then I'm going to cut them out and put them on my acrylic discs. One thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to add a paint swatch behind them. So I'll show you how to do that here. You're going to go into your images, and I'm just going to do paint swatch. The color that it shows up on here does not matter because you're going to cut it in whatever vinyl you're going to cut it in. And I am going to choose that one. I've used this one just recently, so I know I want that one. Add to canvas, and we'll go ahead and basically get that all sized up here. I don't want to move that around. All right, so I'm going to just show you real quick. So this one for 3 months, I'm going to go ahead and do this in the 4-inch disc. That is what I believe I have. I'm actually going to run over to my desk and check. Yes, 4 inches. So we are going to, I've got it all selected here, and we're just going to change that little size there to 4. That way it'll fit. And we're going to see here, I don't need the circle to be cut out, so this is going to get thrown away here in just a minute, but I'm going to keep it for the time being. My little swatch is going to show me, like, kind of put that on here. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Let's go ahead and send it to send it back. So I'm going to right click on it and just hit send to back. And I want to make sure that it's going to fit behind here. Now I'm debating if I should, let's see, let me see how that guy looks. Yep, that looks good. And it's going to fit behind all of them because I did it based on the size of the circle, not the size of the actual wording. So something to keep in mind. Make sure that it fits behind your 4-inch circle, not necessarily that it just fits your lettering. Your lettering can loop over it, and we'll show you how that all kind of works here in a minute. So once I've gotten, so the 3 part is just fine. It's going to fit in there. See if it's more than okay in that circle. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. And I'm going to do that to all of them. And I'll show you in just a second. Want to make sure you're aware of something here. On this hello one, I'm going to actually delete out those lines. I'm going to just hide them so it doesn't cut them, because when you cut that on the vinyl cutter, it makes no, never mind. You can't see it. So we're going to just hide those with the little eyeball. So that'll make things a lot easier. And I'll go ahead and get all of these resized, and then I want to show you one more thing before it gets too far. All right, so I have gone through, got everything measured out the right way, and duplicated my little paint swatches because there's 13 milestones that I'm going to be making. and so it has to be 13 paint swatches. When you have your lettering, make sure that you go in and weld it. If you have cursive letter like this, sometimes there'll be like spots that it's kind of taken apart and not, or is going to cut different pieces, because a lot of times with these SVGs it'll be set up in a way that you can shift and move things around, so just be aware of that. So make sure that you go in and weld it. To do that, you just go to combine and then select weld, and on your paint swatches you can duplicate it right here. So that is how all of that will work. So they're all sized up the way I want them to. We're going to be cutting, actually, funny enough, I'm cutting these on 2 different machines. I am going to cut all of the lettering in a white permanent vinyl, and I'm going to be cutting this in kind of like a really pretty pink vinyl. And that is because the vinyl I have for the little pink swatches is not smart material, and I do not like using the Cricut Venture with the mats. The mats are huge. They're just more than I really want to deal with, so I'm not going to do it. I have multiple machines. I know I'm fortunate in that, but just be aware of that if you're looking at the Cricut Venture. The mats are so much harder to deal with because of their size. So just something to be aware of. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go into Make It. I'm going to cut these ones first, so we're going to go into Make It. And I'm going to be doing this without a mat. This is the 13-inch material. Go to confirm, and see, it's automatically doing these ones first anyways. So I am going to try to get them spaced out a little bit though, and I'm going to go through the process of getting these cut, and then I'll show you the assembly. All right, so kind of the same idea here, just like before. Now on these little round discs, they do have a layer of like protector seal stuff, so make sure you take that off first, but apply your water soap residue stuff onto the surface and onto the actual vinyl, and dry it off, put it on, the whole thing. It's pretty simple. I think I gave a better description of it on the last one, on the last project, but same idea. So on the other side now, I'm going to go ahead and apply the wording on everything. So you can choose to layer them. You can choose to do it like this. It's whatever is your preference. So on this one, I am going to do the same water method though. I transfer the, put the image or the graphic, whatever, on the transfer tape, put the water on the surface, put the water on the actual graphic, or the thing that's on the vinyl, the transfer tape and everything. And on this one, I really tried to squeegee out a lot of that water. That's essentially what you're doing. Is you're not necessarily just pressing it down onto the surface, you're also trying to remove some of that water, and that's going to help you be able to remove your transfer tape, or you can let it sit and dry too. Here's how they all turned out though. I do have from like Hello World all the way up to 1 year. I think they're really, really cute. You can do these on laser, you can do these on wood, you could do these on so many different things. I think they turned out really cute though. Let me know what your favorite project was down below. So I hope everybody really enjoyed today's video, and I really hope you like the what to sell, what to make to sell, things like that. If you do, let me know what kind of category you would like to see. Like I said, today was kind of the Cricut stuff. I want to do wood signs or wood projects, some stuff on my laser I have, some stuff completely off of Cricut, everything like that. So I'm really interested to see what you would be interested in seeing, and I will see you next time.